you ever experienced something you couldn't explain? Well, that's what we're trying to uncover. Encounters with darkness.
Hello!
Welcome to Encounters with Darkness, the podcast.
I'm Melissa.
I'm Ashley. We're hyper.
We are.
We had some coffee.
On top of all the other amount of caffeine I've had today.
So do you guys want to talk about Randolph Asylum? You want to talk about the basement?
Let's talk about the basement.
Let's talk about the basement. Let's talk about the basement. Let's talk about you and me. We went down to Randolph.
And we got creepy.
Woo! Okay. So, we did. The next installment of Randolph that we're talking about today is the basement. Wow. Who would have guessed? I had no idea.
I didn't either.
Man, I had no clue.
Strange.
F the basement.
The basement was that was Kiba. Was the weirdest and I think the most active.
Kiba, we're filming a podcast.
Like, we had active stuff happen on other areas, which you'll see, but not, like, direct. The basement was more direct.
The basement was very in your face.
Mm-hmm.
So, there is one part, there's so many parts, but the one part that I'm talking about right now is we're sitting in Ida's room, and you notice I turn the camera and I film like this little chair that's back behind me. And I never really gave an explanation as to why I did. I didn't hear anything. So like as we were sitting there in Ida's room, I did not hear anything. I was not reacting to the noise that we captured. I was reacting to the fact that it just felt like something was right over top of my shoulder. Like I literally thought that if I turned around, I was going to see something like right there. That's what I was reacting to. It's just weird that when we watch the footage back, you can hear like this weird breath type thing. It was just, and it happened a couple different times and continues. Maybe. I'm just saying.
And also, which you hear me kind of yell at Ashley to come sit, because the boys were down there. Okay, I gotta kind of give you a layout, because we thought, or I was trying to figure out, is it the boys that's doing what I'm seeing? But come to find out, they were on the other end of the basement, because you can kind of hear them in the background, because it's very echoey down there. Mm-hmm. But they're on the other end of the basement. We're like kind of in the middle, and I kept seeing lights on the wall that mimicked her laser grid that was on the first floor. And I'm like, do you see that? Like, what do the boys have? And I just kept saying that, and Ashley kept sitting in her chair. And I'm like,
see anything.
Come here, because I kept seeing it, and then we kind of thought it was the boys, and then re-looking through the footage of what they were capturing while we were in Ida's room, it was not them at all. And I was the only one, which I find very weird, that kept seeing these lights the whole entire night. And they would just be like, some were green, others it was just like if you took a flashlight and were turning it on and off on a wall. But then when we were doing the footage, when I'm pointing to the wall, you see all these orbs. You actually get to see all the orbs.
It's like an explosion of orbs. That's something that we did not point out at all. Like some things we get so excited about, and we'll go ahead. We've got, if you're watching this and you're one of the top creepies, then you know, we'll give you some like heads up and tell you like, hey, go to this minute mark, you'll not regret it. Like, let us know, what do you think that is? That's not something that we released, and that's something that one of our top creepies came to me about and was like, did you see all that, like the explosion of orbs?
And we're not talking the dust particle things.
No.
These are very prominent shapes on the wall, and it's a bunch of them, and it's right when I'm saying, right there, do you see that right there?
Yeah, and it's like,
yeah, so that blows my mind. It would make me mad, because I think we talked about this before. There was a lot of times throughout the night, I would ask a question and no one would answer me. Until like 3 hours later.
Yeah, and then we'd get the answer.
But I kept like, okay, why? When we would go outside and take a break or whatever, there was even flashing on the wall. And I even said to Ashley, because she's like, what's that? And I'm like, oh, are you talking about the flashing? And she's like, no, I don't see any flash. I don't know what you're talking about. And she was talking about a shadow that was over on the shed. But there was prominent flashing on the side of the building as well, and no one was reacting to it. So that blows my mind still, that I'm not going to have that answered.
But it debunks the fact that it could have been the boys. Because when we were outside taking a break, we were all four outside taking a break. We had no equipment on. It was just us standing out in the rain.
Yeah, it was raining.
It was raining. But that kind of debunks the fact, like, whatever Melissa was seeing, she was seeing. It wasn't something from one of us. Because we had nothing on us that she could have seen.
Which, it's just kind of curious as to why, which I'll never have that answered, but why was I the only one seeing that?
Yeah, why lights?
Yeah.
I think maybe the spirits are just like, you really want to mess with them? Don't show them anything scary, just be like, light show.
Like, let's mess with this one.
Yeah. Don't let anyone else see it, just her.
Everyone's gonna think she's crazy. Just do it.
They heard you when we pull up, and you're like, is anyone in the windows? And they're like, she's the one.
Yeah.
We're gonna mess with her hard.
But yeah, and Donovan, you have to explain, like, all this stuff I can't remember if all that footage is in this one or not, of his stuff.
No, so... it won't be next installment. It'll be the installment after that. You'll kind of see there's a little bit of a breakup in the team. Like, no one was mad at each other. Okay, but, like, Donovan is such a brat.
It's not me this time talking about that.
We both, well, me, Melissa, and Melissa's husband, Joe, we all were like, okay, we're going to go upstairs now. So Donovan was like, oh, go ahead. I'm just going to run to the bathroom. He had he had no intention of going to the bathroom. So what he did was he waited for us to go upstairs, and then he went downstairs to the basement. And he's down in the basement for a long time by himself. Like, completely by himself. And there's some weird footage that he got. And he had a lot of weird feelings, and he's the most skeptical person out of all of us. He will tooth and nail fight you that ghosts are not real, they don't exist, everything can be logically explained. But Randolph still messed with him. So,
and this is, I wanted to point, I forgot to bring this up on the last podcast. Which you'll see in footage, we're cold. Obviously, we all have winter jackets on. There is mentioned a lot of footage, which I don't know if we'll put in or not. Ashley was like having uncontrollable shaking.
Yeah,
it
like I was
felt like it was like 20 degrees.
Yeah.
But Donovan, which you'll see in his footage, there's some things they caught. You'll have to find that out, which could explain this. He had a thermal gun. He was sweating the entire night, which is weird because we were all so cold.
All three of us freezing.
And he put his thermal gun around Randolph, and it said it was a solid 50 degrees in the whole place.
Yep. Like
which makes no sense.
Up a little bit, down a little bit in some areas, but the average.
Cold.
Yeah.
So there's no way it could have... So was it just him, which you'll see there's some things that happened to him? Was it something that was just attached to him, making him sweat and warm? Because we were all freezing. The rest of us were.
There's even a part where we go back to the base camp. And I don't think that this footage is out yet, but just so you know. I make a joke because we forgot ice for all of our coffees and our Monsters that we took with us. We had no ice. But I made a joke. I was like, when I opened up my coffee, it was hot, and now it's cold. Ooh, the power of ghosts.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, if it really was just 50 degrees in there, why would it have, like, it chilled my coffee. Like, it was cold. So
and even all of our equipment to touch was always cold.
Yeah, everything was cold. And we really wanted to just sit and just be in the rooms. But the sitting for me was, like, impossible. I needed to move around because I was freezing.
And you'll see us if we put a lot of which people have said they want to see, like the base camp footage. So you'll see us where we're huddling around this one little heater that we have. As soon as we always get in the base camp, we go straight to the heater and just like sit by it every single time.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So cold. I don't understand. And everyone wants to know about the coins. The coins.
Okay. This is where we think our perception was messed with a lot.
Yeah.
And because when we did the tour, we went down there, we filmed the cabinet. We were down there for a long time while she was discussing. Nothing seemed out of the ordinary. Okay?
No.
So then when we go back down there, what you saw, the coins are standing up. And we're like, oh my gosh. And we're even calling the boys to come see it.
It's a huge thing.
But then we went back up to the base camp and rewatched footage from the tour. And the coins are standing up in that footage.
They were.
And all of us are like, there's no way. That would have been something we would have noticed, or the tour guide would have noticed, or at least explained. Because we all looked at the coins.
We don't understand. Like, Donovan, and you hear all of us. We purposely put that in the last episode. You hear every single one of us say, they were not like that before. I know, I looked. Like, I thought it was cool. All this change was sitting there. You hear us say that. So, we didn't do this to trick you. I know it's going to feel like that. But we really wanted to know. Like, if we put it out there as evidence, and there was another paranormal team that were the ones who did it,
Tell us.
we were waiting on an opportunity for you to be like, actually, you guys didn't catch nothing. I did it. But no one's done that. Like, I even put a challenge out on TikTok and was like, all right, TikTok, do your thing. Who did this? Like, we wanted someone to come forward because we still don't know. It could be paranormal.
It just, that place I felt like it messed with our minds a lot.
Yeah.
And we sat up there after we watched the footage, and we were all, like, not arguing with each other, but, like, no. Like, we would have noticed this. And then Donovan, Joe, like, no, they were not like that. Ashley, like, no, I didn't see it. And we were filming it. So, like, that would have been something, been like, to the tour guide, oh, is there a reason these are standing up? Like, we would have spoken on that. So that's why it's so strange that
none of us noticed it. To us, when we were down there with the tour guide, all the coins were laying flat.
Yep.
We never noticed any of them standing up.
Mm-mm.
So it's still weird. It still could
and
be
even the
paranormal.
tour guide would have said something, you would think.
Yeah. She tried to scare us a couple times when we were doing the tour. So I really feel like she would have taken that opportunity to be like, did you notice the change? That never happened.
No. So that was weird.
It was weird. I mean, let us know. Drop a comment. Like, what do you think about the coins? What do you think happened? Do you think someone set this up intentionally? Or do you really think that it could be paranormal? But we are letting you know right now, we rewatched the footage and you can clearly see, like, there's a couple coins that were standing up. The only thing that we don't know is if the coins are all in the same layout. Like, that's kind of one weird thing, and it's just the way that, like, the lights hit the coins. It makes it hard for me to tell, like, was that coin facing this way the whole time, or was it facing this way the whole time, because the way that the light's reflecting off of it.
Yeah.
That's messing with perception. So, you watch it. Let me know. Like, are they moving? Did they move? I don't know. It's so weird.
I just think that place messed with us.
It did. It definitely messed with us a lot. And there's so much more too. Like, I know that the coins seem like they're the big thing, and it's so weird and awesome and spooky, but there's so much more. There's so much more.
So much.
We're still going through footage. We're taking our time and combing through it, and it's so creepy to watch stuff back and know that you never experienced any of that in the moment. But now you're listening to it you're hearing things, you're seeing things that you didn't see before. It is freaking wild. So
On the next installment, within the first 3 minutes,
sorry about Kiba.
there's already something that we didn't notice while we were standing there, and if we would have. And it keeps, this is a thing that shows up periodically, or I shouldn't say shows up, makes itself known periodically through footage. So it was something that was following, and we had no idea. So that's kind of, it's unsettling but cool. But
Yeah.
same, like, you don't know it in the moment, and it was there the whole time.
And we always talk about going back to places to investigate, and we've promised that we would. Every place that we've been to, we will go back to and do another investigation. And I think that that's so important to do as a paranormal investigator, because you cannot just go off of one time, or 2 times, or even 3 times. But at least the second time going back, you know what to expect. Or you know what to look for because you were already there before. Like if we went back to Step Cemetery, I know that we would focus on that tree a lot more than we did the first time because we really didn't.
We had our backs to it the entire time, so we would actually probably face it now.
We were just going off of what we read about it, what we researched about it in the moment, like 5 minutes before because we went to
showed
the
up
wrong.
at the wrong place. But it ended up being really awesome.
It was. We've got so many compliments on that. Talking about how we've caught more in that one episode than most paranormal investigative TV shows show in an entire season. So take that as you want.
But I think too, which her husband spoke on this, when we kind of wish we didn't get the tour. Simply, it was awesome to hear the history and get the tour from a person who knows so much about the place. But when you get that, you focus more on what they spoke of, when the most activity we got were from the rooms that she did not talk about.
Yeah.
So if we would have not, because it gets in your mind. So you have this story and then you're like, okay, yeah, we're going there. But then there's all these other places where so much activity is happening, but you don't realize it because you're focused on what a person has already planted into your head. So I do little bit of advice. If you go somewhere, skip the tour. Get the tour at the end. Ask if you can get the tour at the end, just so you can experience it for yourself with a clear mind.
Yeah, or just if they have to do a tour, because I understand, like, liability and all of that. Like, if you have to do a tour and there's no way out of it, just kindly ask the tour guide to be like, okay, we're going to cut this really short, and I don't want to know any of the history. Like, if there's there's a lot of danger zones inside of Randolph Asylum that she did need to point out.
Right.
I mean, we could have been impaled by something up in the basement. So I'm glad that she pointed it out. But maybe I feel like that's what we'll do next time. Is just earmuffs. Be like, just show
we don't want to hear the ghost stories. We just need to know what we need to avoid.
Yeah. Yeah. Tell us where the spiky deaths are and we're good.
Or the open graves, because that's the thing in cemeteries. Like,
But that, like, a lot of things we go to before Randolph and, like, the Vestige building, like, we just go to just random places and investigate them, and we really know nothing about it. We totally almost fell in a grave. Like, that almost happened.
Yep. Go watch Mount Zion Cemetery video.
Yeah, screenshot it so we
Yeah.
know you watched it. Send us the scene where we almost died.
But yeah, so I'd say the last installment was a good one, but we have so much better coming.
We do. We went live on Facebook, 3 or 4 installments left before it's pretty much, that's all she wrote. And we're sorry it's taking so long. It's not really an editing issue. We want to make sure that we're getting everything. It's so important. And it's crazy because we had how many cameras?
4?
there's a lot of footage to go through, and putting it all in a timeline
Yeah.
has been the difficult part. And also watching it, like, the boys they talk a lot.
We have to make sure that everything's appropriate that we put on here, so...
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, didn't we, like, urge that before we were, like, you know, on the cameras?
Yeah.
They didn't really say anything that bad, honestly. I'm just messing with
We just want to
them.
make sure that no one, like, they're not, like, cussing up a storm, you know, all that jazz, but...
Talking bad about us.
Which
Yeah.
they did.
They did.
Did you guys notice? If you watched our last installment, at the end, you'll hear Ashley's husband, because Joe's like, do you want to go on another floor? And Ashley's husband's like, oh no, they'll freak out if we leave them. And then Joe's like, oh yeah, you're probably right. But literally, like, if you go back to where it's me and her in Ida's room, I'm like, I need them to go on another floor.
Yeah.
Like, they're being too loud. So, yeah, they talked a lot of crap.
They did mad crap. Never forget.
It's on the internet. We will always know.
It is. We'll never... I'm going to bring this up 10 years from now. I'm going to be like, remember that time?
We, like, pull it up on our holographic whatever's new and, like, whatever, and we're like, hey, ding, remember this?
Yeah, I remember that.
Hmm.
I remember that. But it's cool. Yeah, please subscribe if you have not subscribed. Follow us on our podcast. We're popping, Facebook. We're popping up on a lot of different streaming services, so don't be shy. Enter, which obviously you're watching it now. You've already done that. Good job.
But make sure you subscribe, please, and tell your friends, tell your family. There's a lot of, which I'm not trying to get all serious, but if you're looking for something to watch that's just entertaining and you can dive into, come watch us. Turn off your regular news.
Yeah, quit watching the news.
And watch something fun. And we love when you guys interact with us, so tell us your thoughts. It doesn't matter if it's like you disagree with everything that we're doing. Let us know.
Yeah.
We love to interact, so please do so.
Yeah, don't be a stranger. I mean, unless we're out in public. We've already talked about that before.
Yeah.
Do not approach us.
Please don't. We'll run away. It's fine.
We will immediately assume that you mean to kill us, and we will book it.
And if you try to say our names, that'll just freak us out even more, so we'll just be like, how do you know our names? And, like, run away. So don't do that either.
We need to come up with a safe word right now. Like, do they just say encounters with darkness?
That would probably still freak me out.
Yeah, me too, Pop. I don't know.
I don't know. Ooh, you could say stay creepy.
Stay creepy.
So if you are trying to get our attention and we're out in public and we don't know each other personally and you see us and you want to acknowledge that you see us, just say, hey, stay creepy.
Yeah.
And we'll be like, oh! Or we'll be like, oh, no! And then 10 minutes later we'll be like, oh.
That's what they meant. Like, after we've already cried for 4 weeks about, like, this person just called me creepy and I don't understand why.
Like, what did I do to him? People are so cruel.
All right, here, I'm going to leave you with this. One time, this is nothing paranormal, but this is just, it's related. Just wait for it. I was walking to my car after I got off work, okay? And I worked inside of a Walmart. So I was walking through the Walmart parking lot to get to my car. And this guy, all right, I parked all the way to the back because I read this thing that said, you know, just that's how you can exercise more is park your car a little bit further away from the building. So I did that. So it's just me and this guy basically out in the middle of nowhere Walmart parking lot. And he screams at me, hey, you booger monster. And I was like, how does he know? Yeah. How did he know? I love to pick my nose.
Wait, did you respond?
No, I didn't. But that was like, what, 4 years ago at this point? I'm still dwelling on it. Why did he call me a booger monster? Like, I'm kidding. I don't really love to pick my nose. But seriously, maybe we're going to make this a contest later on. We're going to be like, what did a random guy yell at Ashley in a Walmart parking lot? You're going to have to know.
And you'll win a t-shirt.
Yeah. Stay tuned. You'll never know if you don't follow, like, and subscribe, though.
We love you.
We do. Stay creepy.
Be kind.
Are you joking?
I so wish I was recording. I so wish that your faces that you're
I'm gonna be so mad. Like, I can't redo all that.
gonna